Right in this crook where there's some debris caught in it, right in between these trees. These trees are really squished together. This is a good example of a little brown mushroom, or LBM. And you want to avoid LBMs. They're basically never food. They're so tiny that if you cooked it up, there wouldn't be much there anyway. And there are a lot of toxic LBMs, so it's just not worth the risk, really.
Was that black-footed one you found considered an LBM?
Not necessarily because it's a polypore, but if you tried to eat it, it's so tough that, yeah, you wouldn't be able to chew it, really. This one would not be tough. I don't even know what mushroom this is, honestly, but it could be toxic. So LBMs, there are hundreds of these things, and they look very similar. So it's not worth trying to eat any of them, really.
If it's little and brown,
so
it could
Mike-
put you down.
Mike, the turkey tail over there and the turkey tail up there, these look more healthier than those down there. Is it the sun? Does the sun have an impact?
No, probably not. If you look, that log is really, really rotten. You see how the edge of it is like turning into dirt, basically? So the mycelium in that chunk of wood is probably just more well established
Okay.
than the top of it. But really the underside is what's important when you're looking at polypores to figure them out. The underside has a white pore surface, and you can see the pores. If you look really close, you can see all the tiny little holes on it. So there are lots of other polypores that grow in this similar kind of growth habit, little shelves on rotten wood. So it really just comes down to inspecting the plant.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Turkey tail is really common. It's one of the most common mushrooms in the world. So chances are that if you see something that far away, you're like, oh, it might be turkey tail. And then you go over and check out the pore surface, things like that. Like you mentioned, the violet tooth polypore, it has kind of purplish colors when it's fresher and kind of a tubey underside, so you can see that it was different. Yeah. So yeah, that's when inspecting those finer details comes into play.
Yep, it's already in. It's done its thing. There's a if she gets the bulb up,
Almost there.
I'll show
I
you.
left mine
Here,
for you at home.
here.
Oh, he's got a tool.
That's a throwing knife.
Yeah, it is a throwing knife, exactly. That's why I have it. I was taught by a native.
This is a dangerous man, right?
I was taught by a Native American at 12 years old how to throw a Bowie knife.
Yeah.
All the bulbs on it.
Wow. Now this one is fully enveloped in bulblets.
And I'm now teaching my grandsons and my grandsons.
Bulblets,
Got it.
which what you think of as cloves. So what they do is they make a main bulb, and then they always have these side bulblets like this. So if you don't have many of these and you're wanting to keep them, when you pull the main bulb out to harvest it, you always replant those little bulblets that come off the side like that, stick them back down in the hole. Here you go, just plug a few of those back in there. But that's growing its own, I mean, that's a whole cluster of bulblets all by itself there. So there's a lot of food in this. Our garlic that we grow today, what they've done is turned it into all bulblets. So it's just a tiny little core that's what would be the main bulblet and the main bulb, and everything else is bulblet. So that's one of the differences between garlic and onion. Is onion typically has layers. The other thing is that our native garlics and onions, actually, yeah, this is, if it's got a round leaf that's hollow, is that an onion or a garlic?
Onion.
Onions.
It depends. If you plant it in the garden or buy it in the store, if it has a round hollow leaf, it's an onion. If you find it out in the wild, it's a garlic, and vice versa.
That's a good one.
So flat V-shaped leaves in the store is a garlic. Flat V-shaped leaves out in the wild is one of our native onions. We have Canada wild onion, a glade onion. There's a bunch of them, and they're mostly natives. This particular one is European, so good find. And right here we covered wood nettle. That's wood nettle. So if you want to test out the hairs, just
Yeah.
carrot. So see all the little hairs on that thing? Those are the little hypodermic syringes.
And
So
that's
I'm
what
gonna-
the pesto was made out of, correct?
Yeah.
Is wood nettle the same as stinging nettle?
Nope.
Oh,
Wood nettle has rounder leaves like this and has alternate leaves. Stinging nettle has narrower leaves and opposite leaves.
okay.
But they both sting.
They both sting. They both operate the same way. They have,
They both have the same medicinal properties.
I'm drawing a blank on the name of the thing that's in there. So anyway, I rolled that from the base. So I keep rolling that and kind of crushing it as I roll it.
Gonna smoke it?
See that? Well, you could, but no, you eat it. Take a little piece of that, try it.
Dragonflies, I want to have some.
Nope. Damselfly.
Damselfly?
Damselfly. Yeah, these are black-winged damselfly. Get the gorgeous green and blue iridescent. Damselflies hold their wings above their bodies. The dragonflies hold them flat out, and they got two sets of wings. They're parallel, and they're both pretty similar growing. I don't know if I can tell them apart until they start flowering. They really don't taste very well. There's not much use for them other than the fact that the dried stalk makes a really good hand drill for making fire when they're dried out.
So if you give them the flower and let it dry out?
Yep, or just let them dry out in nature.
So, Bo, stinging nettle, is that the one that has the white paste-like inside of it when you break it open? That's almost like an opium?
No,
Or- no.
that's wild lettuce.
That's wild lettuce, okay.
Yeah, if you guys, if nobody has tasted, has everybody here tasted yellow wood sorrel?
Yes.
Okay, if you have not, here's some, and I highly advise tasting it. It's a
Giant wood sorrel.
yellow wood sorrel. I always tell people that wood sorrel is the gateway drug to get kids into foraging. Because you feed it to them and they like, oh my God, it tastes like. I think that the
You go
term now
first.
is tastes like Sour Patch Kid. I have no idea what a Sour Patch Kid is, but. And the other thing is when you let them smell a sassafras leaf, they say it smells like Fruit Loops. I don't know what a Fruit Loop smells like.
You should point that out.
All right, we should probably make a little bit
Yes.
of time, Bo. Let's get over to this where the spring is coming out. Yeah, we'll do that right there.
Just kind of like a little citrusy flavor to it almost.
Polk. I found out that the polk berries, you take the seed out and you can eat the juice or the berry itself. Interesting.
Times a week, if not daily. Whenever the pollen comes out, your body is basically setting up a defense against this invading thing, and because it don't know what it is, and it's also a really horrible. If you look at a magnified picture of the pollen grains, they look like those throwing stars, and they get in your nose, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this thing's attacking me. So your body's trying to flush it out with all that. When it's already in your body, it says, well, this is not a foreign thing. It's already here, so you don't get the really severe immune response to it. So I've heard of people that eat that from the get-go, and it's not a. I mean, once it gets tall, it gets really strong. It's kind of camphor flavored, but up to this stage, I use it for flavoring beans and soups and all kind. I throw it in just about everything.
What's the Latin name?
Yeah, huh?
What's the Latin name?
Ambrosia, and that's the other thing. You know what ambrosia means in Latin? It's food of the gods. So whoever knew about this plant knew that it was a very healthful plant. I didn't go into it in the talk, but the seeds of this were not only cultivated in North America 4,000 years ago, they were selectively bred to get larger seeds as part of the Eastern Agricultural Complex. This one and Iva annua, they selectively bred over a few thousand years. And Iva annua, they got it where it was up to 5 times larger seed. And when corn showed up, they dropped all this stuff, and that large seeded variety of marsh elder went extinct. But this one, the ragweed, it just absorbed those larger seeds, so you get a wide range of seed size in it. So in my grasslands book, there's a picture of the seeds.